At 1:28 in the morning, Tyler Thomas was still somewhere close enough for her phone to matter. A message reached her friends. Not a plan, not a goodbye. Just the kind of message that makes people stand up too quickly and start looking for their shoes. Tyler did not know where she was. That was the last confirmed message. After that, the campus started searching. The town started searching. Helicopters went up, divers went into the Missouri River, and still, Tyler Thomas was not found. Years later, a jury would convict a man of murdering her. But there was no body, no recovered phone, no final photograph, no moment where the whole story became simple. So the question at the center of this episode is not just what happened to Tyler Thomas. It is how a court decided there was enough evidence to say she was gone, and that her death was a crime. In the fall of 2010, Tyler Thomas was 19 years old. She was a student at Peru State College in Peru, Nebraska, a small campus in a small town, the kind of place where people notice who is out late and who has not come home. The public court record says that on the evening of December 2nd, Tyler attended a series of parties. She had been drinking. She became visibly intoxicated. At one point, after an argument with friends, she was asked to leave. She was offered a ride back to her dorm. She declined it. Instead, she left on foot, heading toward campus. It was cold. She was not wearing a coat. Those details can sound ordinary, until you know where the night is going. Between 1 and 1:30 in the morning, other people saw Tyler walking on the Peru State College campus. But she never made it back to her dorm room. At about 1:25, several friends received messages from her phone saying she did not know where she was. The last was sent and received at 1:28 a.m. When Tyler's friends could not find her, they contacted law enforcement. Then the search widened. Peru State College conducted a room-by-room search of the dorm complex. Officers searched. Hundreds of volunteers searched. Helicopters searched from the air. The Missouri River was searched with divers and sonar. Tyler's information was entered into national missing person databases. A DNA profile was developed from her belongings so it could be compared if remains were ever found.
Public record reading. In Tyler's dorm room, searchers found her purse, driver's license, birth certificate, social security card, keys, debit cards, a gift card, and a Peru State College check for $1,104.22.
Her phone was never found. Her body was never found. Friends and family who had regular contact with Tyler before her disappearance did not hear from her again. According to the court, the only financial activity reflected later was unpaid student loans. That matters because a missing person case is not automatically a murder case. People leave. People hide. People start over. The law has to ask whether a death happened at all, and if it did, whether another person caused it. In Tyler's case, that question would become the whole appeal. Joshua W. Keadle was also a student at Peru State College. He lived in the same co-ed dorm complex as Tyler, and their suites were near each other. The court record says there was evidence that the two did not get along. In his first interview, on December 4th, Keadle told a Nebraska State Patrol trooper that he had seen Tyler walking toward the dorm complex sometime between 1:10 and 1:15 in the morning. He said she appeared intoxicated. His account placed him near Tyler, but at first, not with her. Over the next few days, investigators kept asking questions. Where had he gone? Why did his timeline move? Why would his phone or his vehicle matter to a river search?
Public record reading. On December 6th, when investigators asked whether there was any reason he would have left campus around the time Tyler disappeared, Keadle denied leaving his dorm room at all. Later in that interview, he admitted leaving around 2:30 a.m. and driving to the Missouri River.
The next day, after investigators pressed him again, Keadle said something different. He said Tyler had been in his vehicle. He said they had gone to the boat ramp at the river. Keadle's December 7th account is difficult material, and it has to be handled carefully. This episode is not using it for shock. It matters because it put Tyler and Keadle together at the Missouri River before she vanished. According to the opinion, Keadle said Tyler appeared upset and asked for a ride to Omaha. He described a sexual encounter, then said he changed his mind about driving her. He said she became angry, hit him, and threatened to tell police he had raped her. Keadle said he left her by the river, still alive. That was Keadle's account. The jury did not have to accept it, but even if parts of it were not believed, it gave investigators a location, a time window, and a reason to look at the river differently.
Public record reading. Keadle told officers that after returning to his dorm, he showered to get Tyler's DNA off. He also described searching online about what could happen if a body ended up in the river, and whether fingerprints or forensic evidence could remain in water.
Again, those are statements described in the court opinion. They are not a confession to murder. But they became part of a larger pattern the state would later ask a jury to consider. The evidence in this case was not one dramatic discovery. It was smaller than that. A text here, a camera there, a statement that changed, a thing left behind, a thing that could not be found. Passengers in Keadle's vehicle also reported seeing Tyler walking toward the dorm complex around 1:15. One passenger said he asked about offering her a ride and that Keadle responded, quote, "No, she is like that all the time. Just leave her."
Public record reading. One passenger reported receiving texts from Keadle at 2:13, 2:15, and 2:42 a.m. The final one said, "I'm going for a ride. Want to come?" The passenger did not reply. Bank surveillance footage from Peru showed Keadle's vehicle traveling southbound on 5th Street at 2:09 a.m. and again at 3:15 a.m. 5th Street connected with another street that led to the Missouri River boat ramp. Public record reading. In the days after Tyler disappeared, officers observed what appeared to be drag marks north of the boat ramp, leading to the riverbank and down toward the water. Those marks were near tire tracks consistent with Keadle's vehicle. The vehicle searches did not find Tyler's DNA. They did not find evidence of bloodshed. But in 2016, an expert noted more than 100 stains on the carpeting, ceiling, and door, while the seats appeared brand new compared with the rest of the vehicle. A good documentary does not pretend the prosecution was the only side in the room. At trial, Keadle did not testify in his own defense, but he did offer evidence suggesting other possible explanations for Tyler's disappearance. The opinion says the defense introduced evidence about difficulties Tyler had been experiencing in dating and personal relationships, and social media posts where she described breaking down and drinking too much alcohol. The defense also introduced expert testimony about accidental hypothermia, the possibility that an intoxicated person in cold weather could wander off and die without another person intentionally killing them. Public record reading. On cross-examination, that expert admitted that if someone purposely took another person to a place where that person could not get back to safety, he would call that a homicide. That is the narrow, difficult space this case occupied. The jury was not being asked whether every detail was known. It was being asked whether the evidence proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Tyler was dead, and that her death was caused by criminal agency. In 2017, Keadle was arrested again and eventually charged with first-degree murder. The case went to trial in January 2020. The jury was given choices: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, sudden quarrel manslaughter, or not guilty. The jury found Keadle guilty of second-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to 71 years to life. On appeal, Keadle's argument was narrow. He did not argue that the evidence was generally insufficient to convict him of second-degree murder. He argued that the state had not proved the corpus delicti of homicide beyond a reasonable doubt. Corpus delicti means the body or substance of the crime. In a homicide case, it means proof that a human being is dead and that the death was caused by a criminal act. It does not require the victim's physical body to be recovered.
Public record reading.
The Nebraska Supreme Court wrote that in the absence of a body, confession, or other direct evidence of death, circumstantial evidence may be sufficient to support a conviction for murder.
On July 8, 2022, the Nebraska Supreme Court affirmed Keadle's conviction. An affirmed conviction can answer a legal question. It cannot answer every human one. Tyler Thomas has never been located. Her family and friends lost a person, not a legal issue. The record can tell us what was searched, what was said, what a jury found, and what a court affirmed. It cannot make the river give back everything it kept. The most responsible way to tell this story is not to fill the gaps with imagination. It is to leave the gaps where they are, and let the confirmed facts carry the weight. This episode was produced from public records, especially the Nebraska Supreme Court opinion in State v. Keadle. It uses AI-generated narration and labeled public record reading voices. Those reading voices are not real interviews, not cloned voices, and not the voices of victims, witnesses, police, family members, or Joshua Keadle. Keadle was convicted of second-degree murder. No claim is made beyond the findings and evidence described in the public court record.